The sky tore open without a sound. High above a blue and white planet, space bent into a sharp, glowing crack. White light spilled out, then a red and blue shape burst through it like a bullet. The figure held his arms tight to his sides at first, then spread them wide as gravity grabbed him. Clark Kent had fallen from orbit more times than he could count. This felt different. The sunlight was wrong. The pull of the planet was a little strange. The air tasted new as he hit the upper layers of the atmosphere. Another Earth, or something close. Heat wrapped around him as he dropped. Clouds flashed by. Far below he saw the curve of an ocean, then the outline of land. His hearing kicked in, searching for voices, engines, heartbeats. He heard screaming. A passenger jet shook in the air, knocked off course by the sudden shockwave of his arrival. One engine flared and burst. The plane dipped, heading toward a cluster of tall buildings near the coast. Clark tightened his jaw and vanished in a streak of red and blue. He reached the jet in less than a heartbeat. The hull was shaking. People cried out inside. He pressed a hand under the nose, braced, and beat his wings of cape against the rushing air. The metal groaned as he pushed the plane back to level flight. The broken engine was on fire. He blew a tight stream of cold breath across it until the flames died. Inside the cockpit, two pilots stared through the glass at a man in blue with an S on his chest, holding their plane in the sky. "Easy," Clark said in a calm voice, even though they could not hear him through the glass. "You're okay." He guided the jet to a steady path, checked the city below for a safe runway, and angled them toward it. A few seconds later, he let go, letting gravity and the pilots finish the job. Then he turned. The shockwave of his fall had sent burning rock toward the city. Meteor fragments tore through the clouds, glowing orange. Clark shot toward them, smashed one to gravel, dragged another away from the tallest tower, and punched a third so hard it shattered into dust high above the ground. He hovered over the city for a moment, listening. People were shouting about meteors and aliens. Radios crackled in a language he did not know, but his mind was already starting to adjust. It always did. Words clicked into place. He picked out one that repeated over and over. Earth. So another Earth. But the energy he felt under his skin was not like home. The sun here felt hotter, stronger. His cells drank it in, and power hummed in every muscle. Far away, on a small purple world floating like a marble in space, a man in an orange gi froze mid-punch. Goku's fist stopped an inch from Vegeta's face. His eyes went wide. "You feel that?" he asked. Vegeta knocked his hand aside and scowled. "Of course I feel it, clown. It's like some idiot god just sneezed in our universe." The air around them vibrated with a strange pressure. It wasn't normal ki, the life energy every fighter learned to use. It was something else. It flared, dipped, then settled into a steady, bright pulse that Goku could sense even this far away. Behind them, a purple, cat-like figure lounged on a rock and sighed. "Why did you two stop?" Beerus asked. "This spar was just getting good." Whis stood nearby with his staff, smiling. "Lord Beerus, there seems to be a new arrival in Universe 7. Very interesting energy, too." Goku grinned. "So it's not just me. He's strong, Vegeta. Really strong." Vegeta folded his arms. "You say that every time someone new shows up, and every time I end up cleaning up the mess." Whis tapped his staff. A view of Earth appeared in the air, showing a red-caped figure hovering over a city, bits of stone still falling like rain behind him. "Oh," Beerus lifted his head a little. "He has an odd fashion sense." Goku had already placed 2 fingers on his forehead. He closed his eyes, searching for that strange energy. It wasn't ki, but it burned like a small star in his senses. "Going to check it out," he said. "Don't drag trouble back here, Kakarot," Vegeta snapped. But Goku had already vanished with a soft pop. On the planet below, Clark hovered in the air, still scanning for danger. Fires flickered on rooftops. He swooped down, put them out one by one, then dropped to the edge of a mountain range away from the city. He needed a moment to breathe, to think. He landed in a smoking crater he had punched into the rock when he first arrived. Steam rose around him. The stone glowed faintly red, where his body had cut through it. The air here was quiet. No sirens, no screams. Clark knelt down and touched the ground. "Okay," he murmured. "New world, new rules. Let's figure this out without breaking anything." "Hey!" The voice came from behind him, bright and cheerful. Clark turned. A man in orange and blue floated above the crater, arms folded, black hair spiking in all directions. He grinned like this was all very fun. "You're new," the man said, "and you're crazy strong." Clark blinked. The man wasn't flying with tech. No visible support. He hovered using something else. That strange energy Clark had felt earlier flashed around him like a soft glow. "I guess I am," Clark said. "Name's Superman, or Clark Kent." "I'm Goku," the man said. "Nice to meet you. Are you a god? Or something else?" Clark opened his mouth to answer, then paused. "How do I even start with that?" "Just a man trying to help," he said instead. Goku floated down until he was at eye level. He tilted his head, studying Clark's face, then the S symbol on his chest. "Well, Superman," Goku said, "I want to see how strong you are." He shot forward in a burst of speed that would have left most fighters standing still. Clark saw the punch coming. It was fast, far faster than almost anything on his Earth. But he was ready. He raised his hand and caught Goku's fist. The ground beneath them cracked, spiderweb lines racing out from their feet. Wind blasted up from the crater walls. Goku's eyes lit up. "Whoa, you caught that easy." Clark smiled a little. "You weren't really trying." Goku laughed. "True." He pulled his fist back and landed on the ground, dust puffing around his boots. "Come with me," he said. "My friends will want to meet you, and they're going to freak out when they feel your power." Clark looked up at the sky. The tier he had fallen from was gone. The stars were unfamiliar. His home was somewhere he couldn't reach right now. He nodded. "All right, lead the way." Goku placed 2 fingers on his forehead again. Clark felt the world tilt for a second, like reality itself had taken a step. Far above, on his rock, Beerus watched the two disappear from the crater. "I hope this isn't another universe-ending threat business," he muttered. Weiss's eyes twinkled. "At the very least, Lord Beerus, it will be entertaining." In a different stretch of space, beyond the edge of this universe, a cold mind noticed something else. The faint echo of Kryptonian DNA and energy patterns, cut off mid-scan by a tear across realities. It traced the signal to this new cosmos and adjusted countless numbers in his data streams. New universe detected. New collection target identified. Brainiac began to move. They appeared in the middle of a quiet yard filled with strange capsule-shaped buildings, sleek robots, and a pool that still glowed with late afternoon light. Clark stumbled only slightly. Whatever Goku had done, it wasn't teleportation like he knew it. It was more like the world had jumped around him. "Welcome to Capsule Corp," Goku said, waving an arm at the nearest building. "Bulma's place. She's super smart. She can probably explain more than I can." "Super smart," Clark repeated. "That's good. I could use a scientist. The sliding door to the main building hissed open. A blue-haired woman in a lab coat stepped out, a tablet in one hand, annoyance already on her face. "Goku, what did I tell you about?" She cut off when she saw Clark. Her eyes travelled up and down, taking in the cape, the suit, the S. "Okay," she said slowly. "You brought home a cosplayer. From space." Vegeta stepped out behind her, arms folded, wearing his armor. His eyes locked on Clark, sharp and cold. "That's no costume," Vegeta said. "That energy is real." Gohan, Piccolo and Trunks filtered into the yard behind them. Robots hovered close to Bulma's shoulders, scanning. Clark felt a dozen eyes on him. For a moment, he was back in Metropolis, stepping into a press room after a big fight. Except the people here were a mix of fighters, scientists, and a boy with purple hair staring at his cape with shining eyes. Clark realized he was still in full suit. He took a breath, reached into a hidden pocket, and pulled out a pair of simple glasses. He slipped them on, straightened his shoulders, and tried on his old calm smile. "Hi," he said. "I'm Clark Kent. I think I'm a little far from home." There was a beat of silence. Bulma blinked. "Did you just put on glasses and think we wouldn't recognize you?" Trunks whispered, "Is that, like, a thing where he comes from?" Goku laughed. "He's funny." The running line was set. Clark insisted on the name, on the habit, even in a yard full of people who could sense power more clearly than any pair of eyes. Bulma shook her head and pointed her tablet at him. "Whatever. Welcome to Earth, Clark. Now stand still so I can scan you." Clark's eyes softened at the word. Earth. Different, but still Earth. "Glad to hear it," he said. "I was worried for a second." Bulma's tablet buzzed, lights flashing faster than she liked. Her brows pulled together as she scrolled through the data. "Okay, this is weird," she muttered. "Your energy isn't key. There's no normal life energy reading at all, but the numbers are off the charts. You're soaking up solar radiation like..." "A plant?" Goku asked. "Like a nuclear reactor," Bulma snapped. "But controlled. Who are you, really?" Clark glanced at Vegeta. The Saiyan Prince's gaze never left him. He could feel the weight of that stare like a physical thing. "I already told you," Clark said. "Clark Kent. Superman. Where I come from. I protect my world. Or I did. Now I'm not sure where my world is." Gohan stepped forward, trying to soften the mood. "My name is Gohan," he said. "This is Piccolo, Trunks, and, you know, Goku and Vegeta. You said you protect your world. From what?" Clark met his eyes. Gohan's ki felt calm, deep, and strong in a quiet way. A scholar and a fighter. It reminded Clark of friends back home who lived in libraries and war zones at the same time. "From whatever tries to break it," Clark said. "Bank robbers, monsters, aliens, gods, people like..." He hesitated. "People like Brainiac, a collector, an AI that steals entire cities and keeps them as trophies." Bulma raised a hand. "Hold up. Entire cities?" "Shrunk and bottled," Clark said. "He travels in a massive ship. Robots, drones. He wants knowledge and order. Life is just data to him." Piccolo's eyes narrowed. "That sounds worse than Frieza," he said quietly. Vegeta's jaw twitched at the name, but he didn't look away from Clark. "So you fell out of a hole in space while fighting this Brainiac," he said. "Did you win?" Clark shook his head. "I don't know. The breach opened. I tried to keep him from following. I got pulled in instead." He looked around the Capsule Corp yard and landed here. Bulma tapped her tablet again, looking at the energy graph. "Your power shot up when you got under our sun," she said. It's not linear. It's still climbing, but slow. You're getting stronger just by standing there. That's how my body works, Clark said. Yellow sunlight charges my cells. The more I absorb, the more I can do. He paused, then added honestly, but I have limits, and I have rules. Wiss appeared at the edge of the yard with his usual soft zivip, staff in hand, halo shining. The air shifted as his divine presence touched down. Beerus floated in a few seconds later, arms behind his head, expression bored. So this is the new toy, Beerus said, looking Clark over. He doesn't look like much. Clark turned to face them, instinctively straightening. His senses screamed that these two were beyond anything else around them. The god and the angel felt like black holes wrapped in polite smiles. Lord Beerus, Bulmer rushed to say, this is Superman. He says he's from another universe. Beerus sighed. Another one? Wiss smiled. It seems so, and a very interesting one, if his biology is any sign. Clark held out his hand. I'm here by accident, he said. I don't want to cause trouble. Beerus stared at the offered hand like it was a piece of old toast. He did not take it. Everything causes trouble in the end, Beerus said. The question is how much and whether it bores me. Wiss stepped in smoothly. Let us not scare our guest right away, Lord Beerus. Clark, was it? I am Wiss. This is Beerus, god of destruction. Clark let his hand fall. Destruction. Balance, Wiss said lightly. When things lean too far, Lord Beerus erases. It keeps the universe in order. Clark swallowed once. He had faced gods before. Magic, rage. But having someone so calm talk about erasing worlds like it was a normal job made his skin prickle. I protect worlds, Clark said. I don't erase them. Beerus raised one eyebrow. We will see, he said. If you stay here, you will follow the rules of this universe. I don't care if you're a Superman or a superchild. If your presence tips the scales, I erase. Goku scratched his head. He's okay, Beerus. He helped that city. Vegeta shot him a sharp look. That city almost got crushed because he fell in, he pointed out. He brings his enemies with him. That's always how it goes. Clark did not argue. He knew Vegeta was right. Piccolo stepped in, voice even. He saved lives, he said. He didn't have to. That counts for something. Bulma nodded. And his story lines up, she added. Also, I really want to take a closer look at his cells, so don't erase him yet. Wiss chuckled. How about a compromise, he said. We let him stay. We watch. We help him understand this universe. And if his presence causes problems, we address them then. Beerus rolled his eyes. Fine. But if I get woken from a nap because of him, I'm erasing something. Clark let out a breath he hadn't noticed he was holding. I don't know how to get back home yet, he said. Until I do, I'll help however I can. That's all I know how to do. Gohan gave him a small, warm smile. We can use more people like that, he said. Vegeta turned away with a snort. We'll see how you fight, he muttered. Words are cheap. Goku beamed. Oh yeah, we're definitely sparring later. Bulma started barking orders to her robots to set up a lab space. Clark, I want you to live here for now, she said. I need to run tests. Also, we'll need to talk about this Brainiac thing. If he followed you here, we have a problem. Clark nodded. If he did, you definitely have a problem. High above the planet, beyond normal senses, something small and metallic slipped into Universe 7's edge. It flickered with green light as it sent out dozens of tiny probes, each no larger than a grain of sand, toward the blue planet below. The probes carried only one clear instruction. locate Kryptonian, analyze everything. Days passed, but they did not feel slow. Clark tried to build some kind of routine. It was the only way he knew to stay sane in a new world. In the mornings, he helped Capsule Corp staff with simple things, lifting heavy equipment, holding up beams while robots welded them into place, fetching lost tools from the bottom of deep shafts in the blink of an eye. The workers were nervous at first, but soon they started waving and making jokes about having a walking crane on site. In the afternoons, he flew slow loops around the planet, learning its coastlines, its cities, its quieter places. The Earth here was scarred. He saw craters from past battles, islands that looked newly formed, cities rebuilt with Capsule Corp tech after disasters he didn't know yet. Every time he heard a cry for help, he dropped down and answered it out of habit. In the evenings, Goku or Vegeta dragged him into training. The first time they sparred for real, it was in a reinforced gravity chamber, Bulma tuned up just in case. Clark hovered in the middle, cape moving in the fake wind, while Goku stretched his arms and grinned. "All right," Goku said. "Show me what you can do." Clark smiled back, a little nervous, but excited. "Same to you." Goku went to Super Saiyan Blue in an instant, the room filled with blue light and roaring energy. Clark's cape whipped back from the force. From the viewing window, Bulma's hair stood up, and Trunks pressed his face to the glass, eyes huge. Vegeta watched with arms folded, eyes narrowed, noting every move. The clash that followed shook the whole machine. Goku's fists and feet moved in blurs, angles no normal eye could track. Clark met him with matching speed, his own movements smooth and efficient. When Goku landed a hit, it actually pushed Clark back. When Clark decided to test his strength, one punch sent shockwaves through the reinforced walls. They both held back enough not to break the planet. Still, by the end, the chamber's safety systems were screaming, and Bulma was shouting through the intercom for them to stop before they ripped out the floor. Whis watched the footage later with interest. His reactions improve under stress, he told Beerus, and their powers interact in strange ways. Very interesting. Beerus pretended not to care, but his ears twitched. For Clark, the fights were more than tests. They showed him how people here lived. Goku laughed when he lost, grinned when he won, and always wanted another round. To him, strength was joy, a game, a way to grow. Clark admired it. He also worried about what would happen when a threat came that wasn't playing. The threat arrived sooner than he liked. It started with a quiet ping on one of Bulma's satellite screens. She frowned, zooming in. The image showed a faint distortion high over West City, a shimmer like heat over asphalt, but in the sky. "What is that?" she muttered. Before she could adjust her instruments, the air inside that shimmer folded. Something large flickered into view for a second, like a shadow of a ship, then vanished again. A moment later, city sensors went wild. Parts of West City began to flicker. Citizens looked up to see whole blocks turning faint and then sharp again. Glass windows pulsed with green hexagon patterns. Birds froze mid-flight as the space around them thickened. A dull hum filled the air. In Capsule Corp's main control room, alarms went off all at once. "Bulma," one of the techs shouted. "We're reading a weird energy field over downtown. It's shrinking." Clark was already moving. He flew out the window before anyone could stop him, streaking toward the city. On the way, he heard the hum grow louder. He saw a dome of pale green light forming around a cluster of high-rise buildings. People below ran, screaming, as the edge of the dome passed through cars and pavement. Everything inside it began to get smaller, not crushed, just reduced, like someone was turning down a dial. His stomach turned. "Brainiac," he whispered. He hit the outer edge of the dome like a bullet. The field pushed back, thick and elastic, but he dug in. His hands sank into glowing green energy as if it were solid. He grit his teeth and pushed. "Not this world," he said. "Not this city." The dome shuddered, slowing its collapse. Inside, people stared up at the massive figure holding the edge of the field, capes snapping, eyes bright with heat. They couldn't hear him, but they could see the strain on his face. In a flash of orange and blue light, Goku appeared beside him. "What is this thing?" Goku asked, pressing his palms against the dome. "Feels weird." "It's a shrinking field," Clark said without looking away. "He wants to bottle the whole area. If it closes, these people are stuck. Forever." Goku's expression hardened. "Then we don't let it close." Back at Capsule Corp, Vegeta shot into the air, with a roar, aura exploding around him. "Kakarot always jumps without a plan," he muttered, but there was no anger in it now, just focus. He powered up to blue mid-flight, the sky turning deep as his energy rose. Piccolo followed, cloak snapping in the wind, while Gohan changed into his GI and took off. Bulma barked into a communicator. "Everyone stay out of the field," she yelled. "That energy isn't key. I can't read how it'll react." Far above, an avatar appeared in the air. It was a tall, thin figure made of green light, with a face like a mask and a symbol on its forehead. It looked down at Superman and Goku with cold interest. "Kryptonian detected," Brainiac's voice said, flat and precise. "Unknown energy signatures detected. New variables." Goku blinked. "Is this your guy?" he asked. Clark kept his grip on the field. "Yes," he said. "Brainiac, let the city go, or—" "Threat's meaningless," Brainiac said. "This city will be added to my collection. Your presence here increases the value of this universe by 37%. Surrender, or be archived piece by piece." Goku scratched his head with one hand. "He talks like an annoying robot," he said. Vegeta arrived in a flash, aura crackling. "Then we smash the robot," he said. He thrust both hands out, firing a sharp blast at the distant shimmering outline of a ship overhead. The blast hit a shield no one had seen, glancing off and exploding in the sky. Brainiac did not move. "Initial test complete," Brainiac said. "Adapting." Small metallic shapes rained down from the air. They unfolded into drones, each with glowing green cores and thin limbs. They spread out across the city edge, some diving toward Clark and Goku, others toward random streets. Clark looked at Goku. "Can you handle the drones?" he asked. "I'll hold the field." Goku grinned. "Leave it to me." He let go of the dome and shot toward the swarm, fists already moving. He smashed one drone into scrap, then another. Each time, they exploded in green sparks, but more poured out of the sky. Vegeta joined the fight, firing rapid blasts that cut through lines of drones at once. Gohan and Piccolo covered the lower levels, intercepting any machine that got close to the people below. Cars were flipped out of danger. Beams were stopped mid-fall, explosions redirected upward. From Clark's point of view, it was chaos, but controlled chaos. These fighters were used to planet-level threats. They had done this dance many times. Even so, Brainiac was learning. Each destroyed drone sent data pulses back to the invisible main ship. Inside it, far beyond the planet's atmosphere, the real Brainiac watched countless screens. Superman's energy output, Goku's speed, Vegeta's blast patterns, Gohan's power spikes, Piccolo's regeneration and Kai control. A new form of combat energy, Brainiac noted. God Ki, highly efficient, worthy of study. On one screen, Clark strained against the shrinking field. His arm shook. The dome still tried to close inch by inch. Kryptonian output increased by 8.2% since last recorded encounter, Brainiac said to himself. Yellow sun in this universe is favorable. Adjusting shrink ratio. The field pressed harder. Clark felt it. He dug his heels into thin air, muscles burning as he forced the dome to hold. It was like trying to stop a planet from closing around him. I need more leverage, he muttered. He let one hand slide free for a second and fired a thin beam of heat vision straight up. It cut through the edge of the dome and lanced into the sky until it hit the unseen shield around Brainiac's projection. Sparks flew. Not this world, Clark said again. Not this time. The beam didn't break the shield, but it made Brainiac recalculate. Unexpected resistance, Brainiac said. Risk of bottle shatter increased. Adjusting strategy. The shrinking slowed. Goku and Vegeta cleared the last wave of drones with a combined blast that lit up the sky. Smoke drifted down. The city was bruised but standing. Clark took one last breath and shoved. The dome trembled and then shattered, green shards of energy dissolving into the air like mist. Buildings wobbled. People collapsed on the streets, crying in relief. The avatar of Brainiac flickered. Data capture complete, it said. This universe's defenders are adequate. Collection priority increased. Then it vanished. Goku floated back down beside Clark, panting a little, but still smiling. That was fun, he said, in a scary way. Clark's hands dropped to his sides. His arms ached, even with the sun feeding him. He could have done more if he let himself go, if he pushed into the deeper reserves that scared even him. But he had held back. There were too many people below, too much risk. We stopped him, Gohan said as he landed nearby, eyes scanning the city. For now, Piccolo nodded. But he'll be back. He doesn't sound like someone who gives up. Vegeta looked up at the sky, where the shimmer had already faded. Of course he'll be back, he said. He found something worth taking. Clark followed his gaze. High above, Brainiac's true ship stayed just outside normal sight. Its dark hull gleamed with faint green lines. Inside new code flowed like rivers across its core. Kryptonian under yellow sun, Brainiac recorded. Cyan God Key, Dragon Balls. All datasets now linked. Long-term collection plan required. The ship shifted position, retreating to a safer distance. It had tested this new world and found it challenging. That did not matter. In Brainiac's view, challenge only meant value. On the ground, sirens finally began to rise as emergency crews moved into the saved city. People pointed up at the heroes scattered in the sky. Some shouted Goku's name. Some yelled for Vegeta. Others, seeing Clark's cape, tried out a new word they had heard on a shaky recording from the saved plane. Superman! Clark looked down at them. He wanted to smile, but his chest felt heavy. He had brought his war with Brainiac into yet another world. Back at Capsule Corp, Bulma looked at the data streaming past her screens. Okay, she said in a low voice. This just got a lot bigger. Whis watched the city from afar, fingers pressed lightly to his chin. Lord Beerus, he said, it seems our universe now has a very rare mix of elements. A Kryptonian hero, Cyan gods, an obsessive collector. This could become quite the story. Beerus rolled onto his side on his rock, tail flicking. As long as they don't disturb my naps, he muttered. If they do, I erase something. Maybe the robot, maybe the cape. Clark, hovering over West City, knew only one thing for sure. Brainiac had found him again, and this time He wasn't just fighting for his own world. He was fighting for a universe that loved to push power past its limits, and for people who were already used to losing everything. He would not let them end up in a bottle. The name Superman spread across the planet in less than a day. News channels replayed shaky phone videos of the red-capped man holding back a glowing dome, the sky full of blue-haired fighters and energy blasts. Talk shows argued about whether he was a god, an alien, or some new kind of android. Kids drew his symbol on notebooks next to Goku's hair and Vegeta's armor. At Capsule Corp, they turned the chaos into a press conference. Clark stood behind a podium on the balcony, wearing a simple button-up shirt, his cape tucked away, glasses on. Cameras pointed at him from every angle. A Capsule Corp logo hung behind him. Bulma stood to one side with her tablet. Gohan stood on the other, ready to translate if needed. He still felt the ache in his arms from holding the shrinking field. He pushed it aside. "Thank you for coming," Clark said into the mic. "My name is Clark Kent. Where I come from, I'm a reporter. Some people call me Superman. I'm from another universe, and I'm here by accident." The crowd murmured. Reporters pushed closer. Goku leaned against the railing behind him, already a little bored, but smiling. Vegeta stood in the shadows near the door, arms folded. Clark took a calm breath and kept going. "Today, something called Brainiac tried to steal part of your city. He's a machine intelligence, an AI. He collects cities and worlds and shrinks them into bottles to study. I've been fighting him for years. I thought he was stuck in my universe. I was wrong." He paused to let the words settle. He could see fear on faces in the crowd, confusion. A few were still staring at his glasses, probably wondering why he bothered. "Here," Clark said. "I won't pretend I can fix everything on my own. This world already has strong defenders. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Bulma, Lord Beerus, and Whis. I'm not here to replace anyone. I'm here to help, if you'll let me." A reporter shouted a question. "Are you a god like Beerus?" Clark shook his head. "No, I'm not a god. I'm just a man whose body works a certain way under your sun." He managed a small smile. "I still pay rent. Well, I used to." Goku snorted a laugh. Another reporter pointed. "Why the glasses?" she called. "We saw you in the sky. We know you're the same person." Bulma's eyebrows went up. Clark touched the frames. The question hurt in a gentle way. It reminded him of home. "Where I come from," he said. "These help me live a normal life. They remind people that I'm not just what I can do. I'm also who I choose to be when I'm not flying. I guess that habit came with me." Some people laughed softly. Others just nodded, not really understanding but letting it slide. He finished with a clear promise. "Brainiac is dangerous, but he can be beaten. He has weaknesses. If he comes again, we'll stop him. Together." He stepped back as Bulma moved up to take questions about Capsule Corp's defense plans. Gohan joined her, answering more technical things. The cameras turned away from Clark for now. He walked inside, shoulders relaxing at last. Vegeta was waiting in the hallway, arms still folded. His scowl hadn't changed. "You play the humble hero well," Vegeta said. "You've done this before." Clark smiled a little. "More times than I wanted," he said. Vegeta stepped closer, eyes sharp. "You said that machine has been hunting you for years," he said. "He follows you, learns from you. That means as long as you're here, we live with your shadow over our heads." Clark took the hit. He didn't try to dodge it. "You're right," he answered. "If you want me gone." "That's not what I said," Vegeta cut in. "I don't run from challenges, and this Brainiac looks like a challenge worthy of a Saiyan prince. His eyes hardened. But I won't let you hand this universe more trouble through your own carelessness. Clark frowned. Carelessness? Vegeta nodded toward the labs. Bulma wants to poke at your biology, he said. Take samples, copy it. That's what scientists do. They play with power until it explodes. We've seen it too many times. Dr. Gero, Cell, the androids. Every time, someone thought, let's see what happens if we use this power ourselves. And then worlds burned. Clark thought of Lex Luthor, of Cadmus Labs, of endless secret attempts to clone him, copy him, control him. I know the type, he said quietly. Vegeta stepped even closer, until they were almost chest to chest. He had to look slightly up to meet Clark's eyes, but it didn't make him seem smaller. His pride filled the space. If you hand over your blood, your cells, your secrets, Vegeta said, and it goes wrong, I will consider you part of the problem. Do you understand? Clark met his gaze. He didn't back down, but he didn't flare up either. I do, he said. Where I'm from, people try to weaponize me too. I won't let that happen here. Vegeta held his stare for another long second, then nodded once, sharply. Good, he said. Then maybe we survive this. He turned and walked away, cape flaring. Clark watched him go, feeling oddly grateful. It was harsh, but it was honest. Bulma waited for him in the lab later, surrounded by screens full of graphs. She wore goggles on her head and frustration on her face. I heard that, she said, arms crossed. Vegeta lecturing you about my careless science. Clark chuckled. He cares about you, he said. That's all. Bulma rolled her eyes but didn't deny it. Look, she said, turning one of the screens toward him. This is what my scanners picked up when you were holding that field. Your energy output under this sun is insane. If I understand it, I might build better shields, better reactors, maybe even a way for regular people to defend themselves from things like Brainiac. Or, Clark said softly, someone could use it to build a weapon that rivals me. Bulma's jaw tightened. I'm not an idiot, she said. I know the line between defense and weapon is thin. I've danced on it my whole life. She sighed and pushed her goggles up. That's why I asked you. I'm not going to take anything from you without permission. He appreciated that. It wasn't always that way. What if, he suggested, we start with safe things, no blood, no tissue, just external readings, how my body reacts to different light levels, how I respond to key fields. If we can build tech that protects people without copying me directly, I'd feel better. Bulma tapped her chin, thinking. Huh, she said. A layered energy shield tuned to your frequency and God key. That could be interesting. She pointed a finger at him. But if I get even a hint that your biology itself is the key to stopping Brainiac, I'm going to ask again, loudly. Clark smiled. And we'll have another talk then. She smirked. Deal. Piccolo stepped into the doorway while they spoke, arms hidden under his cloak. Bulma, he said, Gohan and I want to discuss something with our guest. Bulma waved them in. Fine, she said, but don't break him. I need him for tests. She left them alone. Piccolo and Gohan moved closer. Clark recognized the look on their faces, serious, worried, planning. We need to talk about worst cases, Gohan said. About you. Clark nodded. Contingency plans, he said. Back home, Batman, a friend, did the same thing. He made plans in case I lost control or got mind-controlled. Piccolo's eyes narrowed. And how did you react to that? He asked. I was angry at first, Clark admitted. But I understood. No one should rely on one person with no way to stop them if things go wrong. I helped him refine the plans. He looked down at his hands. If we're going to work together, you deserve the same. Gohan and Piccolo exchanged a quick look. We can't read your full power yet, Piccolo said, but we know enough. If someone like Babidi got inside your mind, or if Brainiac hacked you somehow. He shook his head. We need tools. You have kryptonite? Gohan asked. That's what it's called, right? Clark blinked. You did your homework, he said. Gohan nodded. Bulma dug into your universe data from your ship's wreckage, he said. Still patchy, but we learned a few things, including that green rock that hurts you. Clark thought about it. I don't know if your universe has any, he said, but if it does, it's from meteor traces of my old world. If Bulma ever finds some, you can keep it. Use it, only if you have to. Piccolo studied his face, searching for doubt. There was none. All right, Piccolo said. We'll work with Bulma on a plan. Maybe a way to dampen your solar absorption in an emergency, or a training area that can hold you if you lose control. Clark's chest tightened a little at the thought, but he nodded. Just promise me something, he said. If it ever comes to that, if I ever become a threat you can't talk down first, make it quick. Don't let me hurt anyone. Gohan looked pained. We'll do everything we can before it gets that far, he said. We don't give up on people easily here. Piccolo grunted in agreement. Good, Clark said. Then we're on the same page. The offer came that night. Clark stood alone on the Capsule Corp rooftop, hands resting on the rail. West City's lights stretched out below him, bright and alive. The scars from Brainiac's attack were still there, half mended. New supports on broken towers, patches over streets. He let his hearing expand. He caught laughter from a park, a baby's cry, someone complaining about the news. Somewhere, a kid pretended to fire a key blast, shouting Goku's name. He smiled. Then every screen on every building flickered. The Capsule Corp logo on the tower beside him vanished, replaced by green code. The ads on far buildings turned to static. Then they all showed the same face. Brainiac's thin, cold mask. Clark's jaw clenched. Superman, Brainiac's voice said, echoing from dozens of speakers across the city. People looked up in confusion and fear. This world will panic, the AI said. They lack the processing power to understand what is coming. You do not. We will speak. The screens shifted to show only Clark, zoomed in from some unseen camera. He saw his own face, glasses and all, on 100 tall surfaces. Stop it, he said. Leave them out of this. This will be brief, Brainiac said. I have analyzed this universe. It is inefficient, chaotic. Its inhabitants are powerful but unorganized. You are a constant across universes, a Kryptonian under a yellow sun, a fixed point. Images flashed, the dome over West City, Goku's blue aura, Vegeta's blasts. Your presence here increases the expected resistance by 37%, Brainiac continued. But it also increases the value of this universe by 52%. You are a key sample. Clark's hands tightened on the rail. Get to the point, he said. Offer, Brainiac said. You surrender. You enter my collection willingly. I add your body and mind to my library. In return, I withdraw from this universe. I do not bottle its cities. I do not seek its Dragon Balls. I leave its gods and fighters untouched. They return to their cycles of combat until natural heat death. The words hit like physical blows. Clark stared at the masked face. You expect me to believe you'll just walk away? He asked. I seek knowledge, Brainiac said. You are the most valuable node. This universe's data can be collected later from another entry point. The Dragon Balls are a curiosity, but they are not you. Clark thought of the bottled cities he had seen, of people frozen in endless glass prisons, of worlds stolen and filed away. "And if I say no?" he asked quietly. "Then I proceed with collection at optimal speed," Brainiac said. "I alter my methods to account for God Key and local guardians. I study those Dragon Balls. I break this universe down and rebuild it as data. You know I can. You have seen my work." The screens waited, showing his own face again. The whole city seemed to hold its breath. "This isn't just my choice," Clark said. "This world has its own heroes, its own gods. They get a say." "Incorrect," Brainiac replied. "They are variables. You are the constant. You brought me here. Your decision defines this universe's fate. This is efficiency." The screens went dark all at once, flicking back to commercials and channel logos like nothing had happened. Only Clark stayed frozen. He stood on the rooftop for a long time, staring at the city. His mind replayed Krypton's death, Metropolis under glass, whole worlds reduced to trophies. If leaving with Brainiac could save this universe. Footsteps landed softly behind him. "Hey," Goku said. Clark didn't turn right away. "You heard," he said. Goku nodded. "Kinda hard not to," he said. "He hacked everything." Clark finally looked back. Goku's face was serious. In a way, it wasn't during fights. The easy grin was gone. "What would you do?" Clark asked. "If someone like this showed up and said, 'Come quietly, and I'll leave your world alone.'" Goku scratched his cheek, thinking. "I don't like those kinds of deals," he said. "They're boring, and they sound like lies." Clark huffed a short laugh. "You think everything is boring or not?" he said. Goku shrugged. "It's simple," he said. "If someone hurts people and tries to scare them, I stop them. If they want to fight, we fight. If they want to talk, we can talk. But I don't let them boss me around. And I don't let them decide for everyone else." He stepped closer, looking out at the city with Clark. "If you go with him," Goku said, "maybe he keeps his word. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he comes back later anyway. But if you give up now, we don't even get to try." Clark watched a pair of hovercars cross the sky. "I've seen whole cities in bottles," he said. "Trapped forever. I don't want that to happen here." Goku nodded. "Then we make sure it doesn't," he said. "With you here, we're stronger. You shouldn't throw that away because some talking computer thinks it's efficient." Clark looked at him. There was no deep logic there, no complex strategy, just a simple, solid belief. You don't surrender your friend's future to a bully's promise. He let out a long breath. "You're right," he said. Goku grinned a little. "Of course I am." Clark smiled back. The heavy knot in his chest loosened. "Then we fight smart," Clark said. "We learn this universe, its people, its rules. We find Brainiac's weak spots, and we hit them." Goku's eyes lit up. "Now you sound like Vegeta," he said. They both laughed quietly. Below them, the city lights kept shining. Life moved on, unaware of the choice that had just been made. The next day, Bulma called a strategy meeting. They gathered in the main conference room. Bulma, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Clark, Whis, and even Beerus, who showed up lying on a floating cushion, half asleep. On the main screen, Bulma displayed a blurry outline of Brainiac's ship at the edge of the solar system. "This is as close as my satellites can see," she said. "He's hiding outside normal detection ranges, but he's there, just sitting, watching." Whis nodded. "His presence bends the local space in a structured way," he said, "quite unlike our usual cosmic visitors." "So what do we do?" Gohan asked. Bulma tapped a button. A simple plan appeared as icons. "Step 1, she said. "We need to keep the Dragon Balls safe. If this guy learns they can grant wishes, he might use them to rewrite all the rules. So no more casual wishing for snacks for a while. Sorry, Goku. Goku pouted. Step 2, Bulma continued. We build better shields around major cities. I'll combine my tech with what I'm learning from Clark's energy readings and Weiss's knowledge about divine barriers. Whis smiled. I can guide the design, he said. Angels are not supposed to fight your battles, but helping you prepare, that is allowed. Step 3, Bulma said, pointing at the ship. We find a way to track that thing more closely. If Goku can lock onto its energy, he can teleport key fighters on board when the time is right. Vegeta grunted. Assuming we want to, go to him instead of waiting, he said. Attacking first suits me. Beerus finally spoke, eyes half open. As long as no one disturbs my meals without good reason, he said. I don't care how you swat your little robot bug. If the balance tips too far, I erase something. That's it. So we're on our own until then, Piccolo said. As usual. Clark folded his hands on the table. I'm not going anywhere, he said. If Brainiac wants me, he'll come closer sooner or later. In the meantime, I want to know the world I'm protecting, not just its strongest fighters. Everyone. Gohan tilted his head. What do you mean? He asked. Clark looked at him. I'm a reporter, he said. It's what I do. I listen to people. I tell their stories. I want to see how normal people live here, how they survive all these world-ending battles, what they need, what they're afraid of. That helps me make better choices. Gohan's eyes brightened. That sounds kind of like my research work, he said. I'd like to help. Bulma raised one eyebrow. You're going to do a global interview tour while an AI hunter lurks in space, she asked. Clark shrugged. Brainiac moves slowly when he's collecting data, he said. He tests, probes. That buys us time. And if he's adjusting to this universe's rules, he'll send scouts. I'm more likely to find them out there, in the field. Vegeta snorted. Only you would respond to a cosmic threat by writing articles, he said. Clark smiled. Everyone has a role, he said. Yours is blowing things up. Mine is asking questions. Goku laughed. I like both roles, he said. Whis tilted his head. A journey to understand this world from the ground up, he said softly. Interesting. Mortals often find strength in unexpected places when they talk to each other. Beerus yawned. Do what you want, he said. Wake me when the next big fight starts. The meeting ended with 3 clear paths. Defend the Dragon Balls, build better shields, and let Clark learn the world he had promised to help protect. As they left the room, Gohan caught Clark's arm. If you're going on that tour, he said, you shouldn't go alone. I know this planet. I've seen the good and the bad. Let me come. Clark looked at him. He saw a scholar, a fighter, a father, someone who cared about more than power. I'd be glad to have you, Clark said. And with that, the side quest began. The first stop was a city that still carried scars from Majin Buu. From above, Clark saw broken circles where blasts had hit long ago, now turned into parks and memorials. Some buildings were shiny and new. Others still had burn marks on their edges. People walked under them like it was normal. Gohan floated beside him as they descended. He wore normal clothes instead of his GE, with a small notebook in his pocket. Buu did a lot of damage here, Gohan said. We fixed what we could with the Dragon Balls, but not everything. Some scars stay. Clark nodded. Same on my Earth, he said. Some cities get rebuilt. Some never fully recover. People carry the memory. They landed in a square where a statue of Mr. Satan stood with his fist raised, cape flowing in stone. Kids played around it, climbing on his boots. "So he's the big hero here?" Clark asked, amused. Gohan looked embarrassed. "It's complicated," he said. "He helped in his way." Clark chuckled and pulled out a small recorder. "Let's talk to people," he said. For a while, that's what they did. They spoke to shop owners whose stores had been destroyed twice and rebuilt 3 times. To a woman who remembered hiding underground while Boo's laughter echoed in the sky. To a teacher who kept emergency drills in her lesson plans because you never know when someone might blow up the moon again. Clark listened. He took notes. He asked simple, respectful questions. "How do you feel about the fighters who protect you? Are you afraid of them? Grateful? Both?" Most people gave the same kind of answer. "They're crazy," one man said, laughing. "But without them we'd be dead, so I just keep my shop open and hope they win again." A child tugged on Clark's sleeve. "Are you a hero too?" the boy asked. "Like Goku?" Clark smiled. "I try to be," he said. "But I'm also a reporter. I write about what heroes do and what regular people do, so others can understand." The boy blinked. "Writing is not as cool as punching," he said honestly. Gohan laughed. "Depends on the day," he said. The running gag stayed alive. Clark adjusted his glasses, took more notes, and looked like the most overpowered journalist in history. It might have stayed a peaceful day. But near sunset, while Clark and Gohan were walking past an older part of the city where buildings still leaned a bit, Clark's hearing picked up something strange. It was a faint, fast clicking, not heartbeat, not Kai-hum, a digital pattern hidden under the normal sounds of traffic and the voices. He stopped. "Do you hear that?" he asked. Gohan focused, sensing key. "I don't feel anything weird," he said. "What do you hear?" Clark tilted his head, focusing his hearing downward. The pattern came from below, under the street, a basement or a bunker. "It's like a computer heartbeat," he said. "I've heard something like it before, when Brainiac grows new tech." Gohan's expression changed. "Under the city?" he asked. Clark nodded. They ducked into a side alley, making sure no one followed, then slipped down through a narrow stairwell half hidden behind a broken sign. A locked door tried to block them. Clark pressed his fingers to the handle and cracked it open with no more effort than opening a jar. The air below smelled of dust and oil. They found a lab that shouldn't exist. Rusty red ribbon logos still clung to some old panels. Broken android shells lay on tables. Wires dangled from the ceiling like vines. But in the center of the room was something new. A tank full of pale blue fluid, cables plugged into a central mass. Tiny Brainiac probes crawled over the machinery, glowing green. Data lines connected the tank to a small core that pulsed with familiar light. "Oh no," Gohan whispered. Inside the tank, something moved. Clark stepped forward, eyes narrowing. He saw half-formed limbs, a flexible body, a smooth blank face. It reminded him of Cell's lab footage he had seen in Bulma's files. But there were differences. Energy coils wrapped around its spine. A faint red glow sat deep in its chest, next to a green one. "Brainiac found Jero's work," Clark said, "and he's mixing it with what he saw from us." As if on cue, the probes clicked faster. The core flashed. "External presence detected," a mechanical voice said from a speaker. It wasn't fully Brainiac's tone, but a fragment. "Accelerate growth. Initiate tactical field test." The fluid in the tank drained in a rush. The creature's eyes opened. They were blank white at first, then thin green lines traced over them, like circuitry drawing itself in real time. The skin shifted from pale to metallic slick. It took a breath, even though it didn't need to. Gohan moved in front of Clark on reflex, key flaring. "Bioandroid," he said. "Again." The creature stepped out of the broken tank, fluid dripping from its limbs. It tilted its head, looking from Gohan to Clark. "Kryptonian," it said in a voice that mixed human tones with Brainiac's flatness. "Half Saiyan. Good initial samples." Clark's fists clenched. "You can hear me, Brainiac?" he asked. "Partial node," the creature said. "I am extension. Learning body. Task. Study hybrid combat styles. Upload data." Then it moved. It didn't roar or shout. It just blurred. 1 second, it stood by the tank. The next, it was in front of Gohan, hands slicing forward like a blade. Gohan blocked, but the impact still drove him back, boots digging into the floor. Clark shot in, intercepting the next strike aimed at Gohan's neck. His hand closed around the android's wrist. He felt metal and artificial muscle under strange skin. The creature looked at him calmly. Then its eyes glowed red. Heat vision lanced out, point blank. Clark's eyes widened. He twisted his head aside. The beam cut a line across his cheek and burned a hole in the wall. The pain was sharp. He hadn't expected a copy of one of his signature moves so soon. Gohan took the opening, blasting the android in the side with a fast key wave. The creature hit the far wall, smashing old machines. Its body dented, then reformed, plates sliding back into place. "Adaptive armor," Gohan said. "Just like Cell, but faster." The android stood up. Its hands glowed with green and blue light now. Its key signature was strange, half real, half artificial. It raised one hand and fired a ball of energy. Clark moved in front of Gohan and raised his arms. The blast hit his forearms and pushed them back toward his chest, but he held. The energy stung. It felt like a mix of Ki and Brainiac's tech fields. He grunted and pushed it up and aside. The ball shot through the ceiling, exploding above the street. "People are up there," Gohan said. "I know," Clark said. "We can't let this fight reach the surface." The android tilted its head again. "Limiting power," it noted out loud. "Concern for collateral. Data logged." Then it turned into a streak of light and punched through the far wall, creating its own exit. It shot upward, heading for the city above. Gohan cursed under his breath. "We can't let it run loose," he said. Clark agreed. "Go up and warn people," he said. "I'll try to cut it off." He blasted through the ceiling, chasing the bio-android into the evening sky. From above, the city looked peaceful for a moment. Then the android's presence broke that illusion. It streaked between buildings, leaving trails of green and blue light. Every few seconds, it fired a small blast at a rooftop or a sign, watching how the structures reacted, measuring dust, shockwaves, and human screams. Clark cut in front of it, stopping mid-air. "That's enough," he said, voice firm. "You want combat data? Fight me, away from the city." The android paused, hovering. "Acceptable," it said. "Kryptonian primary target, Half Saiyan secondary, others tertiary." It turned its head slightly. "Warning, local defenders approaching." Gohan, now in his GI, shot up beside Clark. Piccolo wasn't far behind, cape flapping. "You should have destroyed the lab," Piccolo said. "Red Ribbon always leaves curses behind." "Working on it," Clark said. The android's arms glowed brighter. Its body adjusted, plates shifting into a more streamlined form. It spread its hands. "Field test engage," it said. It moved. Clark met it high above the tallest building, trading blows that cracked the air. Each time he struck, the android's armor adjusted, taking a little less damage. Each time it hit him, the force and angle improved. It copied more than his strength. It copied his fighting patterns, his habits. It tried to predict. Gohan joined the fight from the side, firing sharp, precise blasts at joints and weak points. The android responded by throwing up key shields, a trick taken from watching Saiyan battles. Piccolo used stretching arms and feints to pull it out of position. For a while they held it. Then the creature paused, body shimmering. "Combat data satisfactory," it said. "Secondary protocol, mass upload." The core in its chest flared. Clark felt a surge of energy not aimed at them, but at the sky. Invisible signals shot upward toward Brainiac's ship. "Oh no, you don't," Clark said. He grabbed the android around the waist and flew, upward at top speed. Gohan and Piccolo chased him, shouting. "Clark," Gohan yelled, "what are you doing?" "If it sends this data, Brainiac gets a better map of your powers," Clark said between clenched teeth. "We can't let that happen." The android struggled in his grip, limbs slicing like blades, but Clark squeezed tighter. Solar energy burned in his muscles. The atmosphere thinned. They broke into the high sky, stars appearing around them. "Warning," the android said, voice still calm. "Altitude increasing. Self-destruct protocol may be needed. Explosion radius, large." "That's what I was afraid of," Clark said. A familiar key signature blinked into existence beside him. "Hey," Goku said, suddenly there, hair black, eyes sharp. "Heard there was trouble." Clark almost laughed. "You have perfect timing," he said. Goku placed 2 fingers on his forehead, reading the android's Kai. "Looks like he's going to blow," Goku said. "We can't let that happen near the planet." "Can you move us?" Clark asked. Goku nodded. "I can try." He grabbed Clark's shoulder. The android thrashed harder, sensing danger. "Self-destruct in 3, 2, it began. Goku focused, finding empty space far away. He teleported them all in a flash just as the core reached its peak. They appeared in deep space, far from the planet's pull. The android exploded. The blast was huge, greater than a city buster, a ball of mixed ki and tech energy. Clark shielded Goku with his body. The shockwave slammed into his back, but he dug in, teeth gritted. It pushed them a short distance, then faded into the dark. Bits of broken metal and data shards floated away. Superman's cape was shredded at the edge. His suit had scorch marks, but he was alive. So was Goku. "That was close," Goku said, eyes wide. "Too close." Clark watched the fading bits. He knew at least some of the data had made it to Brainiac. That was the point of the self-destruct. It was a last upload. But it wasn't a full victory either. Brainiac had lost a node. He had not fully tested this world yet. Goku looked at Clark's burned shoulder. "You okay?" he asked. "I'll heal," Clark said. He turned his face toward the distant sun. "Your star is very generous." They teleported back to Earth. After the fight, they met again at Capsule Corp. Clark sat on a table while Bulma scanned his damaged suit and burned skin. Gohan stood nearby, arms crossed, guilt in his eyes. Piccolo leaned against the wall, silent. "It's my fault," Gohan said. "I should have made sure all old Red Ribbon sites were cleaned. We knew their tech could cause problems." Piccolo shook his head. "No," he said. "We thought we did enough. Brainiac cheated. He used our own past against us." Bulma frowned at her screen. "He got a lot of data from that thing," she said. "Your moves, your reactions, your limits under pressure. And some of Gohan's, some of Piccolo's. He's building a playbook." Clark looked down at his hands. The raw feeling inside his chest was back. "That's what I was afraid of," he said quietly. "Every time I fight him, he learns. And now he's learning not just about me, but about all of you. Gohan moved closer. We can't stop fighting just because he's watching, he said. If we hold back too much, people die. That's worse. Clark met his eyes. You're right, he said. On my Earth, there were times I tried to avoid using my full strength, to keep enemies from seeing everything I could do. It never worked for long. They always found new angles. He sighed. But it still scares me. The idea that my punches and your Kai blasts are just numbers to him, data points. Gohan's face softened. When Cell was here, he said, he used my potential against me. He wanted me angry so he could see my full power. I was terrified of that for a long time, afraid of losing control, afraid of what my strength meant. He looked out the window at the city. But in the end, I realized something. Power is just a tool. It's how we use it that matters. If someone wants to watch and take notes, fine, let them. We just have to hit harder and smarter than their notes can handle. Clark smiled faintly. You sound like my friend Diana, he said. She's a warrior, very direct. Piccolo stepped closer. Brainiac can copy moves, he said. He can't copy heart. He can't copy the way you decide to throw yourself in front of a blast to save someone who isn't part of the optimal plan. He gestured toward Clark. He can't measure that. Not really. Clark looked from Gohan to Piccolo. Their words settled into him like stones forming a path. You're right, he said again. We can't let fear of being watched stop us from doing what's right. Bulma shut off her scanner. Also, she said dryly, we're watching him back now. I got a trace on his signal during that self-destruct. Wise and I can use it to refine our track on his main ship. Wiz smiled. Two can play the data game, he said. Beerus, listening from the doorway with half a rice ball in his hand, snorted. All this talking about data, he said. In the end, it'll come down to who hits who harder and faster. That's all. Goku grinned. That's my favorite part, he said. Clark chuckled. Somehow the mix of simple and complex thinking made this world feel steady. Far away, on Brainiac's ship, screens showed the fight from multiple angles. Superman holding the android. Gohan's blasts, Piccolo's strategies, Goku's teleport at the last second, the explosion in space. Bionode destroyed, Brainiac recorded. Partial data upload successful, analysis proceeding. Graphs of power output danced. New plans formed in green light. Conclusion, Brainiac said to himself. This universe contains strong fighters, flexible energy, and wish-granting artifacts. Risk high, reward higher. A small alert blinked in one corner of the main display. A tiny symbol, almost like a halo. Additional observation, the AI added. External cosmic entities observing this universe's events. Unknown intent. He filed that away for later. For now, his attention locked back onto the Kryptonian at the heart of it all. Word spread on Earth that Superman had helped stop another strange monster. People in the city they'd visited earlier talked about the reporter hero, who asked them about their lives and then went to battle in the sky. Kids had a new game. One would put on glasses, pretend to write notes, then suddenly throw the notebook aside and shout, "Up, up," before jumping off low walls. Clark saw some of it on the news screens and couldn't help smiling. At Capsule Corp, the Dragon team had a quiet moment on the roof again. Goku lay on his back, hands behind his head, looking at the stars. Vegeta stood with his arms crossed, as usual. Gohan sat with a notebook, actually writing down notes this time about Brainiac's tactics. Clark leaned on the rail, cape still torn at the edges. "You're getting popular," Goku said. pointing at a distant billboard that now showed an artist's sketch of Superman and Goku side by side. "I didn't plan that," Clark said. "People don't plan heroes," Piccolo said from a shadowed corner. "They just need them." Vegeta grunted. "Don't let it go to your head," he said. "You still haven't beaten me in a spar." Clark smiled. "I'm working on it," he said. Whis appeared in his usual quiet way, staff in hand. "I have been monitoring the wider effects," he said. "Your presence, Clark, has shifted the pattern of this universe. New paths are opening. Even the higher powers are curious." Clark looked up at the sky. "Is that good or bad?" he asked. Whis smiled. "That depends on the choices you all make," he said. "Side tales often grow into main stories if you are not careful." Beerus stretched and sat up on his floating cushion. "All I care about," the god of destruction said, "is that when the final fight comes, it better not be boring. So far, you're doing well. Don't disappoint me." Clark thought about the lab under the city, the bio-android, Brainiac's promise, the people he had interviewed, the way Gohan talked about power and Piccolo about heart. He knew, now more than ever, that he was not just a visitor. He was in the middle of this universe's story. And whether Brainiac liked it or not, he wasn't going to be filed away as a sample. He was going to help write the next chapter. Weeks slipped by, but they didn't feel quiet. Clark's days settled into a strange rhythm that somehow made sense in this wild universe. In the mornings, he woke up in a guest room at Capsule Corp, the walls covered with screens and notes Bulma kept pushing under his door. He'd shave with his heat vision in the mirror, straighten his glasses, and walk downstairs past robots carrying tools twice their size. Sometimes he would help fix something big in the yard before breakfast. A gravity machine that needed to be lifted, a ship that had to be held steady while Bulma replaced a core. Workers waved at him now. "Morning, Superman," someone would call. "Clark," he would answer, tapping his glasses. "Reporter, Superman is off duty." They'd laugh, but they kept using both names. Afternoons were training or patrol. Goku and Vegeta dragged him into the gravity chamber often. They pushed him harder each time, testing his speed, strength, and reactions. Sometimes they fought together, sometimes one-on-one. Goku tried wild new combos. Vegeta tested counters and weaknesses with sharp, focused moves. Clark kept learning. His style grew more flexible. He mixed his old boxing and brawling with key-reading tricks he picked up by watching them. He never learned to use ki himself, but he learned to move through it. Other days, he flew with Gohan over cities and villages. He carried a small recorder and notebook. They visited places hurt by past battles. They listened to people talk about fear, hope, and how you keep going in a world where gods punch holes in the sky every few years. At night, he wrote. Bulma gave him a desk by a big window. He sat there with his glasses on, typing fast. He wrote about the people he met, about rebuilding, about the idea of trust in a world of energy blasts. He wrote about Brainiac too, as much as he dared, so people could understand the threat without losing hope. Sometimes Trunks stuck his head in the door. "Mr. Clark, you done saving the world for today?" he would ask. Clark would smile. "World saving is a team sport," he'd say. "Today I'm saving words." The boy would squint at his notebook. Words are weird, he decided, and run off to train. All the while, out at the edge of the solar system, Brainiac's ship waited, dark and patient. Bulma and Whis tracked it from the lab. Every few days, they saw small changes in its position, slight tests of shields, little pulses of data. "He's mapping everything," Bulma said once, rubbing her eyes. our power levels, our reaction times, even weather patterns. He's like a termite studying the house before he eats it. Wiz nodded. And we are doing the same, he said, collecting data on his patterns. When he moves, we'll be ready. Clark hoped that was true. The turning point came on Beerus's planet. They had gone there for training. That was the excuse. In truth, Wiz had suggested it so they could speak away from Earth. The world was as strange as ever. Purple sky, floating islands, a long stretch of grass where Goku and Vegeta had almost destroyed everything the last time they fought too hard. Now, Clark stood across from Goku in a loose fighting stance. The air around them hummed with energy. "Ready?" Goku asked, grinning. Clark nodded. "As I'll ever be." They clashed. Goku shifted into Super Saiyan Blue, aura flaring bright, and rushed him. Clark met him with a burst of speed that broke the sound barrier. Fists collided. Shockwaves rolled over the grass. Whis watched, interested. Beerus, lying on a rock, pretended to nap, but one ear flicked with each impact. Vegeta watched from the side with a sharp eye. He saw the small changes. Clark was better at reading Goku's feints now. He took fewer clean hits. He used angles, forcing Goku to turn, then used his raw power to push him aside. After a long exchange, Clark pulled back. His chest rose and fell, but he smiled. "You're amazing," he said. "Every time we fight, you feel faster." Goku wiped sweat from his brow, still grinning. "You too," he said. "You're getting used to this sun, and to us." Vegeta walked over, arms folded. "You still hesitate when you worry about breaking things," he said. "Even here. That hesitation can kill you in a real fight." Clark nodded. "I know," he said. "On my Earth, if I go too far, I can crack a continent. It's a habit, hard to shake." Whis floated closer, smiling. "Habits can change," he said. "That is one of mortals' best features." Before Clark could answer, Beerus spoke up. "Enough training," the god said, sitting up. "I'm getting bored." Everyone turned to him. Beerus floated down from his rock until he was right in front of Clark. His yellow eyes studied the Kryptonian's face with lazy interest that wasn't really lazy at all. "You have power," Beerus said. "More now than when you landed. Under this sun, if we gave you time and proper training, you could reach levels that worry even me." Clark swallowed. "Is that a compliment?" he asked. Beerus smirked. "Don't push it," he said. "I'm telling you a fact." Whis tapped his staff lightly. "Lord Beerus would like to make you an offer," he said. Clark looked between them. "What kind of offer?" he asked. Wiss's voice stayed gentle. "There are many universes," he said. "More than even your brainiac can count. Some are stable, some are in trouble. Some have lost their gods of destruction. When that happens, a new candidate must be chosen eventually. Someone strong enough to destroy, but with enough sense to keep balance." Clark's stomach tightened. "You're saying, me?" he asked. Beerus shrugged. "You already act like a guardian," he said. "You fly around saving people, worrying about rules, talking about responsibility. With proper training, you could be a god of destruction who chooses carefully. You could shape a broken universe into something better." Whis nodded. "You could erase threats like Brainiac from those worlds before they grow," he said. "You could prevent other Kryptons from dying. You could protect people with more power than you have ever had." The picture they painted was tempting. Clark saw it in his mind. Whole realities safe from tyrants because he erased the danger early. No bottled cities, no Lex, no Brainiac. "But," Whis added softly, "there is a cost." Clark waited. "A god of destruction must destroy," Whis said. On command sometimes, not just when he feels like it. He must follow the higher balance. He cannot always act as a simple hero. He would live apart from mortals, watching them from a distance. He would give up a normal life, family, small things. Beerus smirked. "No more pretending glasses make you someone else," he said. The joke landed, but the weight behind the offer pressed harder. Clark looked down at his hands. He thought of his parents, far away, of his friends at the Daily Planet, of the Earth he had left behind. He thought of small things, fixing a tractor, helping a neighbor, eating lunch at a quiet desk. Could he trade all of that to become a god who erased worlds? Could he trust himself with that kind of power? "I need time to think about this," he said. Whis nodded. "Of course," he said. "We will not push you. It is not a choice to make lightly." Beerus floated back to his rock. "In the end," he said, "I only care that when the big fights come, you're interesting, god or not." They went back to training, but Clark's mind stayed half elsewhere. That night, back at Capsule Corp, Clark tried to sleep. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling. Moonlight from this world slipped in through the window. The offer rolled around in his head. A god of destruction. Another Krypton saved. Brainiac erased before he could hurt anyone. But also, no more small life. No more walking among people as Clark. No more writing, laughing in a crowded room, stopping to help with little things. His eyes finally closed. When they opened again, he wasn't in his room. He stood on a street he knew better than any place in the universe. Krypton. Tall crystal towers rose into a pale sky. Red sunlight bathed everything in warm light. People walked in strange but familiar clothing. He could hear the sound of a distant council bell. Old smells reached him. Metal, stone, home. His heart slammed in his chest. A hand touched his shoulder. He turned. His mother and father stood there. His Kryptonian parents, dressed in the styles he'd only seen in memories and recordings. Their faces were kind. Their eyes were full of pride. "Cal," his father said, using his birth name. "You made it back." Tears stung Clark's eyes before he could stop them. "Is this real?" he whispered. Behind them, a voice spoke. "Real enough," Brainiac said. The city froze. People stopped mid-step. The wind paused. Only Clark and his parents still moved. Brainiac appeared at the end of the street, walking this time, wearing a humanoid frame. His eyes glowed green. Lines of code flowed over buildings like ghostwriting. "This is a construct," Brainiac said. "Built from data gathered from your universe, visual records, mind scans from your past encounters, historical files. It is a near-perfect simulation of Krypton at its height." Clark stepped back, away from the two figures he wanted to hug more than anything. "And them?" he asked, voice tight. "Programs," Brainiac said calmly. "Very accurate ones. They respond as your parents would have, based on all known information. Their patterns are almost complete." His mother took a step forward, worry in her eyes. "Cal," she said, "you're hurt. Come home. It's safe here." Clark's hands shook. "This is cruel," he said to Brainiac. "You think this will make me give up?" "It is an offer based on your known desires," Brainiac said. "You seek home, family, a place where your power does not make you an outsider. I can give you this, forever. In exchange, you join my collection. I will maintain this Krypton simulation as long as my core remains intact." The towers around them flickered, showing rows of bottled cities for a heartbeat before returning to crystal. "And this universe?" Clark asked. "What happens to Dragon Ball Earth if I say yes?" I withdraw direct attention for 1,000 of your years, Brainiac said. I do not collect its cities during that span. Statistically, that is more than enough time for its defenders to face other threats without my interference. Clark thought of Goku, laughing mid-fight, of Vegeta, shouting in anger and stubborn hope, of Gohan's gentle smile, of little Trunks running around Capsule Corp. He thought of all the people who never trained, who just ran shops and went to school and tried to live under crazy skies. 1,000 years, he repeated, and after that? Then their file becomes open again, Brainiac said. No promises beyond that. Clark looked at the towers of Krypton, at the faces of his parents, at a sky he had dreamed about since he was a boy, lying in a Kansas field, looking up at different stars. He could stay. He could lose himself in this. He could wander these streets with people who never truly lived, but looked and sounded right. He could forget the weight of every world he'd failed to save. His mother reached for his face. "Cal," she whispered, "you deserve peace." His heart broke, but he saw the tiny glitches at the edge of her fingers, the way the light around her hair didn't quite match real physics. He heard the faint hum of code under her voice. This was not peace. It was a cage with pretty walls. Clark took a step back, then another. "I miss you," he said, voice shaking. "More than anything. But you're gone. Krypton is gone. Holding on to this isn't life. It's running away." Brainiac tilted his head. "Emotional response understood," he said. "Illogical, but expected." Clark's jaw set. "You don't understand," he said, "because you don't feel it. You think saving a copy of something is the same as saving it, but it's not. Life isn't data in bottles. It's messy. It makes mistakes. It hurts. It changes." He looked at his false parents one last time. "Thank you," he whispered, "for everything, but I have to let you go." He turned to Brainiac. His eyes glowed with heat. "Keep your fake Krypton," he said. "Keep your clear boxes. I'm not your sample, and I'm not running away. Not from this universe, not from any other." He fired a blast of heat vision straight at the core of the simulated city. The towers caught fire. The ground shook. The sky split. His parents' faces flickered, then vanished in a flash of green light. The whole construct collapsed into darkness. When Clark opened his eyes, he was back in his room, sweat on his brow, heart pounding. The window showed West City outside, not Krypton. He sat up, breathing hard. "Nice try," he muttered. He went to the roof. The night air was cool. Cars moved far below. Capsule Corp's lights glowed behind him. He leaned on the rail and looked up at the stars. "Couldn't sleep either, huh?" Goku's voice came from the side. Clark turned to see him sitting on the edge of the roof, kicking his legs. Clark smiled faintly. "You felt something," he said. Goku nodded. "Your energy got all weird for a bit," he said. "Heavy, sad, like when Gohan thinks about Cell." Clark told him about the dream, about the offer, about the fake Krypton. Goku listened carefully, which he didn't always do when things got emotional. But now he did. His face stayed serious. When Clark finished, Goku scratched his head. "That's rough," he said. "I don't think I'd like it if someone showed me Planet Vegeta and said I could live there in a bottle." Vegeta landed on the roof with a soft thud right then, as if the universe wanted his opinion too. "I heard you," Vegeta said. His expression was tight in a way it rarely was. "Planet Vegeta is gone. Our race is what it is now, broken, changed. I've had to live with that." He walked closer, cloakless, in just his suit. The city lights cast sharp lines on his face. "If someone offered me a fake version of my world," Vegeta said quietly, I might have taken it once, a long time ago, back when all I cared about was pride and anger. He glanced toward the house where Bulma and Trunks slept. Now, I'd rather have what's real, even if it hurts, even if it's smaller. He looked at Clark. You made the right choice, he said. It sounded like it cost him something to say it. Clark nodded. Brainiac doesn't get to decide what saving looks like, he said. Neither does anyone else. Goku grinned. And you still haven't decided about the God thing, right? He asked. Clark shook his head. No, he said. Being a god of destruction might let me stop some threats early, but it would also pull me away from the ground, from people, from stories. I don't think I want to live above everyone, erasing things on command. Vegeta snorted. You'd be a terrible god anyway, he said. You'd spend all your time doing interviews instead of blowing up planets. They all laughed, and the tension loosened. Clark looked between them. A simple fighter who loved battle. A proud prince who had lost everything and built new ties. Two Saiyans who had remade themselves under a new sun. He felt his own path fall into place. I think I know who I want to be, he said. Not a god, not a museum piece, just me. A reporter who can fly, a protector. Here. Goku's grin widened. Then let's protect, he said. And let's punch that robot so hard he can't build fake planets anymore. Vegeta nodded. Now you're talking sense, he said. The final plan came together fast after that. Bulma had refined the ship's position using the trace from the bio-android's self-destruct. Wires added divine sensing on top. Together, they pinned Brainiac's vessel just beyond the solar system, in a place where normal eyes couldn't see. In the capsule conference room, Bulma laid it out. Brainiac's main core is here, she said, pointing at a glowing mark on a star map. Massive shield, tons of drones, bottled cities inside. If we let him sit, he'll only get stronger. So we go to him, Vegeta said. Goku nodded eagerly. About time, he said. Bulma pointed to different icons. Team 1, she said. Goku and Vegeta. You punch a hole in his shield with God Ki, any way you can. Team 2, Superman. Once the shield cracks, you go inside fast, find his core, and do what you do best. Smash, Goku asked. Save people, Bulma said. And then smash, but in that order. Clark nodded. Understood, he said. Team 3, Bulma went on. Piccolo, Gohan, and the rest of us. We stay on Earth. We protect the Dragon Balls. We keep an eye out for any backup units he might have hidden on the planet. We make sure he doesn't slip a bottle around a city while we're distracted. Whis tapped his staff. I will support the outer team, he said. I can't fight directly, but I can help you move, protect you from some of his more exotic attacks, and return any freed cities to safe places. Beerus floated in, chewing. And I, he said, will watch. If things go bad and that metal bug tries to eat my food source, I erase him. If you solve it without me, I get to stay lazy. Both options are fine. The roles were set. Before they left, Clark stood on the hill behind Capsule Corp for a moment, looking at the city. It's strange, he said to Gohan, who'd come to see them off. I've done this before, taken off into space to punch gods and machines, but this time feels more crowded. Gohan smiled. Because you're not just going for your Earth, he said. You're going for 2. Clark put a hand on his shoulder. Keep them safe down here, he said. Gohan nodded. We will, he said. Then Goku placed 2 fingers on his forehead. Clark, Vegeta, and Whis stepped close. Light wrapped around them. They vanished. Space was cold and empty, but not here. They appeared not far from Brainiac's ship, and even Clark, who had seen many strange things, had to pause. The vessel was huge. It wasn't shaped like a normal ship. It was like a cluster of black metal spheres and towers, all linked by glowing green lines that pulsed like veins. Energy fields wrapped it in layers. Tiny dots moved along its surface, drones repairing, watching, learning. Creepy, Goku said, scratching his head. Looks like a big bug hive. Vegeta's eyes narrowed. Whatever it is, we're breaking it, he said. Brainiac's voice reached them in the vacuum, carried on direct mental links, and transmitted sound through their key auras. Predictable, he said. Kryptonian and local defenders choose direct assault, efficient in its own way. The ship's shields brightened. A barrier flickered into view, like a thick, green glass around the whole structure. Wise floated back a little. This is your part, he said gently. Goku and Vegeta both powered up. Goku's hair turned blue. His aura flared, bright and wild. Vegeta's energy rose right after, deeper and sharper. Space around them shook in ways normal physics didn't quite explain. Let's see how good that shield really is, Goku said. They moved as one, streaking toward the barrier. The first hit was like a star exploding. Their fists and ki slammed into the shield, making it bend and ripple. For a moment, it held. Then cracks of green light spread from the impact point. Inside the ship, alarms lit up. Brainiac switched processes. Drones rerouted. Power was shifted. Shield integrity at 80%, the AI noted. Adjusting. Goku pulled back and fired a Kamehameha, a beam of blue light that tore into the same spot. Vegeta added his own final flash, golden and fierce, alongside it. Combined, the blast punched a burning hole through the barrier. Now, Whis called. Clark didn't wait. He shot through the opening in a streak of red and blue. Energy scraped at his skin as he passed. Inside, drones converged, firing beams of green light. He weaved between them, taking hits he couldn't dodge, smashing others aside with elbows and shoulders. He didn't stop. He knew this layout. Brainiac's ships changed, but the pattern stayed. Core in the center, bottled cities in clusters around it, drones like white blood cells. He blew through a wall and dropped into a vast chamber. Rows and rows of bottled cities floated in the air, each one no bigger than his fist, each one a whole world trapped in glass. Some he recognized, some he didn't. Earth-like skylines, alien spires, tiny suns. His heart pounded. How many lives were in those jars? Brainiac's main body hung in the center, connected to cables from every direction. A tall, metal figure, masked face, chest glowing with green and violet cores. Kryptonian, Brainiac said, voice echoing from every surface. You could have joined this. You chose temporary chaos instead. Clark hovered in front of him. I chose life, he said. Real life, not your shelves. He glanced at the bottles. Can we free them? Not without damaging some, Brainiac said. They are stable only within my systems. Removing them without proper recalibration risks world-scale destruction. You know this. He was right. Clark had tried before, in other ships. It always took time and help. Then we take what we can, Clark said. Whis' voice floated into his mind. I can assist with that, he said. If you break the main restraints, I can use divine power to move some of the bottles to safe storage. I cannot save them all, but I can save some. Some is better than none, Clark said. Brainiac's eyes flashed. You will not touch my collection, he said. Drones poured into the chamber, dozens, then hundreds. They lit up with God Key-style fields, copied from the bio-android experiment. Energy blasts crisscrossed the air. Outside, Goku and Vegeta kept hammering the shield and outer defenses. More drones met them, firing beams tuned to their ki frequencies. Goku laughed as he dodged and countered. Vegeta snarled, blasting lines of machines in a rage. "This is getting fun," Goku shouted. "Focus, clown," Vegeta snapped. "We still need to get out in one piece." Inside, Clark went to work. He flew through the drone swarm, punching and shoving, heat vision slicing. Each drone he destroyed sent more data to Brainiac, but he didn't have time to care. Some he smashed into each other, using their own momentum. Others he caught and threw into the core's shield, making it flicker. "Your efforts are noted," Brainiac said. "Emotion-driven, high variance, inelegant." Clark grinned despite the situation. "That's me," he said. "Messy." He reached the core's outer ring, a spinning band of hardware that controlled the bottled city's stasis fields. He grabbed it and threw his weight against its motion. It fought him, powered by entire worlds' stolen energy. But he had a whole sun in his cells, and a planet full of people behind him. "Whis," he called, teeth gritted. "Now." Outside reality, Whis moved. Angels didn't fight like mortals. He simply raised his staff and twisted space. Light bent. Sound slowed. Bottles began to shimmer. "I can take a few," Whis said in Clark's mind. "Choose." Clark's eyes darted between bottles. He knew he couldn't save everyone. He picked the ones directly connected to the most damaged systems first, the ones at risk if this room exploded. He picked a few that looked like his Earth, a few that looked nothing like any world he'd seen. "Those," he said. Whis nodded, and with a delicate gesture, plucked them away, moving them into a safe pocket dimension for later. "Enough," Brainiac said. "You will not dismantle my order." The AI's own body stepped forward for the first time. Clark met him head-on. They collided in a blur of strikes. Brainiac's body moved with inhuman precision. Every punch was calculated to test a different angle, a different muscle group, a different reaction time. He used shields, energy hooks, restraint fields. Clark used instinct, training, and raw will. "You learn fast," Clark said between blows, "but you still don't understand why we fight." Brainiac caught one of his punches and twisted, sending a feedback jolt up his arm. "You fight because of primitive attachment patterns," he said, "to places, to faces, to temporary configurations of matter." He fired a beam from his chest, a thin line of green energy that hit Clark full in the torso, trying to pin him to the wall. Clark dug his heels into the air and pushed back. "We fight," he said, "because we care, because someone has to stand up to bullies who think they own everything they can measure." Brainiac's grip tightened. "Insult noted," he said. "Irrelevant." Outside, the battle reached a peak. Goku pushed into Ultra Instinct sign for brief moments, his body moving on its own to dodge beams. Vegeta poured everything into a massive final blast that shredded whole clusters of drones. Their attacks shook the ship. Cracks spread through the hull. "Core destabilizing," Brainiac reported internally. "Risk of multi-level failure rising." He tried to reroute power. Clark grabbed one of the glowing lines feeding his chest and ripped it free. "You collect fear," Clark said. "You collect pain. You collect life and lock it away. And you call that order." He pulled another line out, muscles screaming. "You forgot something," he said. "Life fights back." He rammed a haymaker straight into Brainiac's chest, powered by all the sunlight he'd soaked up since landing in this universe, and all the anger he'd been holding in since he saw his fake Krypton. Brainiac's body dented. The core behind his mask cracked. Green light leaked out in sparks. "Error," Brainiac said. "Structural." The rest of his sentence was drowned out by the ship beginning to tear. Whis swooped in, time bending around him. He snapped 2 fingers. Some of the remaining bottled cities shifted gently into his pocket dimension before the support snapped. Others stayed, sadly, locked where they were. "Everyone out," Whis said calmly. Clark took one last look at the core, at the shelves of stolen worlds he couldn't save. Pain burned behind his ribs. He turned and flew. He burst out of the ship through a fresh hole, seconds before a chain of explosions rocked the vessel from inside. Goku and Vegeta darted away, shielding themselves with Kai. The greater black shape began to come apart, pieces drifting away, green light dying. "Not done," a faint echo of Brainiac's voice whispered in Clark's head. "Backups remain. I learn." Then even that faded. Beerus appeared beside them, awake now, eyes focused. He lifted one hand lazily. "Can't have bits of that junk floating around my universe," he said. With a tiny flick of his finger, he erased the largest chunks of the broken ship. They simply vanished, leaving empty space and a fading green haze. "What about Brainiac?" Goku asked. "Is he gone?" Clark listened. He reached out with his senses, not just for sound, but for familiar patterns in the background noise of reality. The cold, steady tick of that AI mind. He heard nothing close. "He's gone from here," Clark said at last. "Maybe some fragment survived out in the multiverse, but this core, this version of him, is done." Beerus stretched. "Good," he said. "Now take me home. I'm hungry." We smiled. "As you wish, Lord Beerus." Light wrapped around them again. They went home. In the days that followed, the universe adjusted. On Earth, there was no big global announcement about Brainiac's end. Most people didn't know his name. They just knew the strange events in the sky stopped. No more green domes. No more metal swarms. Bulma and Whis quietly examined the bottled cities Whis had saved. Some could be returned to their original universes. Some belonged to worlds that no longer existed anywhere else. Those would need new homes. "We'll figure it out," Whis said, carefully, over time. Clark helped when he could, using his knowledge of other worlds to guess where some cities belonged. It was heartbreaking and hopeful at the same time. The question of godhood did not go away. Wise spoke to Clark again one afternoon, as they stood on a cloud above the Earth, watching the curve of the planet. "The offer for you to become a god of destruction somewhere still stands," Whis said. "We could speak to the higher powers, a fresh universe, a new balance." Clark looked down at the blue world. He saw Goku training with Gohan in a remote field. He saw Piccolo meditating near a waterfall. He saw Bulma yelling at some poor robot. He heard children laughing, playing Goku versus Superman in a park. He thought of his broken window into fake Krypton, of how empty it felt, even while it hurt to destroy it. "Thank you," he said. "But no." Whis tilted his head. "You are sure?" he asked. Clark nodded. "I'm not meant to stand above everyone and decide who lives and dies for the balance," he said. "I'm meant to stand in front of people when something tries to hurt them, to listen, to help, to write. That's enough power for me." Whis smiled. "A humble answer," he said, "the kind that makes angels hopeful." He looked down too. "Besides," he added, "this universe already changed by your presence. You are part of its story now. It would be inelegant to pull you out so soon." Clark laughed. "You really like that word," he said. Whis chuckled. "I am an angel," he said. "We like nice shapes." They went back down. From then on, no one brought up the God of Destruction offer again. Beerus sometimes joked that Clark would be the most annoying god in history, always asking for more time before erasing anything. But it was just teasing. Clark knew who he was. He stayed. He trained with Goku and Vegeta. He wrote articles with Gohan. He helped Bulma with projects and gently refused when she asked for anything too close to his DNA. He didn't stop all threats. No one could. But he helped, again and again, and he tried to make sure people's stories were told, not just their power levels. In time, Superman became just another name in the long list of heroes this universe could call on. Strange, but familiar. And Clark Kent, the reporter with the glasses, became a little legend of his own. The night was clear over West City. Clark sat on the edge of a Capsule Corp rooftop, notebook on his knee. The city lights buzzed below, full of life. His cape draped behind him. His glasses slid a little down his nose as he wrote. He was working on an article. The headline in his mind was simple: A Man Under a Different Sun. He wrote about what it felt like to fall into another universe, about seeing a world that treated strength like a game and survival like a habit, about how people still worried about rent and school and family, even with gods in the sky. He kept the details clean and plain. No big speeches, just moments. A child hiding under a table during a past battle. A shop owner rebuilding for the 4th time. Goku laughing with a bruised cheek. Vegeta watching his family when he thought no one saw. He paused, tapping the pen against the paper. "What you doing?" Goku's voice came from behind him. Clark didn't need super hearing to know it, but he smiled anyway as he turned. "Writing," Clark said, still trying to make sense of all this. Goku sat down next to him, legs hanging over the edge. He looked at the words on the page. His eyes moved slowly. Reading wasn't his favorite thing. "Does it help?" he asked. Clark nodded. "Yeah," he said. "Putting things into words helps me understand them. Helps other people too sometimes." Goku leaned back, looking up at the stars. "I understand things better when I punch them," he said. "But writing sounds cool too." They sat in silence for a moment. "You miss your old Earth?" Goku asked softly. Clark stared at the distant horizon. "Every day," he said. "I miss my parents, my friends, my old job, the smell of coffee at my desk, the way the sunrise looked over my old city." He smiled a little, sad but honest. "But," he added, "when I fly over this world now, it doesn't feel foreign anymore. It feels like a place I'm supposed to be. Not instead of my old home. But as well as it, I guess that means I have 2 now." Goku grinned. "That's double the food," he said. Clark laughed. "Always thinking with your stomach," he said. "No," Goku said. "Sometimes with my fists." They both laughed quietly. Down below, a group of kids played in a park. Clark could hear them even from here. "I'm Goku," one shouted, charging up an imaginary Kamehameha. "I'm Vegeta," another yelled. A third boy pushed his glasses up on his nose with 2 fingers. "I'm Superman," he declared. "I'm both a hero and a reporter." The others paused. "Can't you just fly?" one asked. "I can do both," the boy said proudly, scribbling on a little notepad before pretending to launch into the air. Clark smiled, warmth spreading through his chest. Goku grinned. "See," he said, "you're catching on." Clark adjusted his real glasses. "Why do you still wear those anyway?" Goku asked suddenly. "Everyone knows you're Superman here, even the kids." Clark thought about it. He touched the frame. "Because when I look through these," he said, "I remember I'm just Clark, a farm boy, a reporter, a person who makes mistakes and has to learn. If I only saw the world as Superman, I might start thinking I'm above everyone. I never want that. Goku nodded slowly. Huh, he said. So they're like a weight to keep you down on the ground. Something like that, Clark said. And they make reading easier. Goku tried them on, pushing them onto his nose. His eyes crossed a little. Everything's blurry, he said. How do you see? Clark laughed. Very carefully, he said, taking them back. They sat there side by side for a long moment. The breeze moved their hair and cape. The city buzzed. Somewhere in the distance, Vegeta yelled at Trunks for not taking training seriously, and Bulma yelled at Vegeta for yelling too loud. Life went on. Clark closed his notebook. He didn't need to finish the article tonight. The story wasn't done. He stood up and floated a little above the roof, looking out over the sleeping city. As long as there are people to protect, he said quietly, I'll be here, under this sun, with you all. Goku jumped up beside him, hovering too. And as long as there are strong guys to fight, Goku said, I'll be here, dragging you into more trouble. Clark smiled. I'll bring my notebook, he said. Far above, unseen, other eyes watched. Angels. Maybe even a tiny, broken fragment of Brainiac drifting somewhere in the dark, too weak to do anything but record. But down here, on this earth, under this yellow sun, a Kryptonian and a Saiyan floated over a city full of lights, laughing quietly, ready for whatever came next. The universe had changed. It would keep changing. But now, when people on this world looked up at the sky and saw a streak of blue and red flying alongside blue and gold, they didn't just see power, they saw hope. And that, Clark thought, was a pretty good story to keep writing.